The following is a paid advertisement of St. Anthony Hospital Orthopedics. References to any specific product, services, or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by St. Anthony Hospital, Carroll Broadcasting, or its advertisers. The views expressed by the host or guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. Welcome to the St. Anthony Hospital Orthopedic Show with Dr. Richard Godding. Dr. Godding specializes in joint preservation, reconstruction, and replacement surgery, and brings over 25 years of orthopedic excellence to St. Anthony Hospital and to the Carroll area. For more information about Dr. Godding, his practice, or St. Anthony Orthopedics, go to santanthonyhospital.org or make an appointment by calling 712-794-5536.
Good Sunday morning, Iowa. It's Dr. Rick Godding. Thank you for choosing to spend some time with me here today on this Sunday morning. And it's Sunday morning for you. It's Monday morning for me. Last Monday. Yes. And the reason I'm telling you that is because while I'm recording this, this is the first day where I said, if I had a jacket on, it would be okay. It's the first time of the year that I have felt that. And I am now reminded that I need to go get my hats out of the deep closet and get ready to get things moving. It's wintertime almost. I love the fall. The leaf changes, everything. I don't love taking care of the leaves in my yard, but I'm very enthused about the fall. My youngest daughter, both my daughters used to bake when they were little. They used to bake cookies for my total knee patients. So anybody who was having a total knee or a total shoulder, I would take these little boxes in that my daughters would make. I bought the boxes, and then they would make these cookies, and they would write, "Get well soon, hope you do well." And they were probably 8 and 10 at the time. So cute. And I just had a patient who, the father of a patient that I just did, who came in with her, said, "Oh, I remember that, and that was so nice. Are they still doing that?" And no, they're a little busy. They're teenagers. They're busy. But my oldest daughter didn't really keep on with the baking. My youngest daughter, she is fully into it, and she made a pumpkin spice cake yesterday. And she just makes these from scratch. She'll get in the kitchen. She loves to get in the kitchen and look online for a recipe and make everything from scratch. I mean, there's no Duncan Hines or Sara Lee in our house. It is purely a from scratch when she's baking, and she made this tremendous cake, and it was very nice. I had just a little fork of it because I'm still pretty much carnivore, but it is that time of year. It's that pumpkin spice time of year. It's that getting into the apple cider, hot chocolate, hot tub, if you have a hot tub, all of these really wonderful things about fall that I do truly love. I used to do a little hunting in the fall with my dogs, and then they decided that they were going to become gun shy after the first couple times, and so they just hide under the truck. So I sold my shotgun. I said, well, I guess that's the end of that for me. But I do love this time of year, and it is, it's really funny because I say these things like the farmers, if you're out there in the field, avoid the rush. If you know you're going to have something done this year, go find your orthopedic surgeon and get yourself scheduled for whatever procedure. Because if you want to get it done this year, go ask somebody in November if you can have surgery this year. They're probably going to say no. At least, starting somewhere in November, it becomes, there's just not enough time. And this is not just for orthopedics, but for if you have any kind of an elective surgery, you're going to have your cataracts done, you're going to do anything where you're saying to yourself right now, mid-October, hey, I really want to get this done this year because I, don't want to go through a whole new year without it, or if you have your deductible met and you like to get something elective done before the end of the year, go make the appointment now and get on the calendar. Otherwise, you're going to find I always take the week between Christmas and New Year's off with my family. That's something I started probably 5-6 years ago, and I said, that's it. As my daughters get older and I have precious little time left with them in the house, and I just decided that I would do that. So that means that I stop operating somewhere around the 21st, 22nd, and that'll be it for the end of the year. So I'm sure there are other surgeons in other specialties and also in orthopedics who work it that way. So I guess my message is, if you are wanting to get something done this year, call today, make your appointment to make the appointment. before surgery. So you go in and you decide you want surgery. You have to go into the office, and you can't just call the office and say, "Yeah, you saw me 4 months ago. I want a total knee now." That's not how it works. Or eyes or whatever it is. So that's just a little public service. Another thing that we definitely start to see as the temperature drops is ice, and ice will cause lots of people to fall this year and lots of people to break their bones. You have to think before the ice. Make sure you have railings. If you're getting a little older, it's tough because it's like, oh, I don't need railings on my staircase. Well, okay, but the stakes get higher the older you get, and so if you certainly on any outdoor staircase, you should have some railings and pay close attention to the weather, because you get this black ice where it's just maybe it misted overnight and it got just below freezing, and in the morning it doesn't even hardly look it. And I have walked out of my house and stepped on the concrete and just fallen, boom, hard, within the last few years. And if I were 75 rather than 55, I would have probably broken a hip, possibly a wrist, an ankle, shoulder, elbow. So as we get into this time of year where we start heading into the late fall, early winter, we're starting to have to think about snows. I mean, if you're a gardener, you're thinking about what you're doing in your garden. Maybe you're planting some bulbs, whatever it is. Maybe you're covering your roses. But just understand also that you do need to look around your environment at home and at work and make sure that when it gets to the time that there's going to be ice, that you have a safe way to get places that you must go. The best thing is to not go out if it's icy at all, but at least if you have a railing, at least you can maybe avoid going just straight down. So it is a time of year when things have to start, you have to start being concerned about things in a different manner than before. And the other thing that I would say is if you don't have a gym membership, get a gym membership, or YMCA, something like that. And so as we age, each year is more important. It's not less important. It's more important to keep in shape each year as you age. And I have, over the last 2 years, I've never stopped working out, but I've worked out more. I guess when I turned 50, I have not looked back from there. I was really, really working out a lot. And then I made the dietary changes that worked for me, as far as, doing the keto carnivore thing, which I'm still doing. And again, there are some issues with that sometimes. So you do need to, you have to make sure you supplement your magnesium and your potassium, and there are some other multivitamin you should take. I guess the message is, if each year, I know it seems, well, it's a little bit harder and maybe I'll just sit this workout out. I can tell you that if you're in your 50s or 60s or even 70s, heck, even 80s, I tell my mom, walk. She has one staircase in her house. Well, maybe if you did that staircase 10 times in a day and did that over and over and over, you get in better shape. And I think the hardest thing sometimes is to convince somebody who's in their 80s that dietary changes will be a big benefit. And I get that. Regardless, we're talking about quality of life. Quality of life. If you're in your 50s or 60s, you still got a long stretch here, likely. And you want those to be the best years that you possibly can have them be. And I'm smack in the middle of this myself. Looking at, oh my gosh, I'm 55. How did that happen? I moved to Iowa in 2016. I was 46, and 46 is or was it 15? No, it would have been 16. Yeah, but 46. You're pretty young at 46. You don't know it sometimes. You don't feel it occasionally when you're 46, but boy, you get to be 55 and 46 looks really young. And I know, because I work with patients, that when you're 75, 55 seems really young, right? So as you get older, you only in retrospect realize how vibrant you were. But at the time when you're going through it, you just feel older and tireder and all that. But my formula has been to fight it tooth and nail by taking care of myself. And I think that, again, to me, it's a quality of life issue. I figure I have 7 years left to work full-time here at St. Anthony's. I have a great relationship with my partner, Dr. Dirks, who, he and I do cases together. We do big surgeries together that are better to have two people there. We are always there to help each other out. If he needs help or if I need help, we call and the other person comes and helps. And, we cover each other. I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying having I think it's a really neat mix to have somebody that's 3 or 4 years out and somebody that's 20 years out. It's a nice mix of everything, he's super, young and energetic, and I don't mind working a little bit less. I still like to work. I love what I do, and I would like, I've never been a point, well, a couple times, but most of the time in my practice, it's been a situation where, I'd love to be a little busier. And right now I'd love to be a little busier, but only a little. And I'm pretty happy. Of course, he's starting out still. If you're 3 years, so he's been in Carroll here a little over a year. Takes about 5 years to fill out a full practice. There will be people even here in Carroll, even though he's from Carroll, who have not even heard the news that there's an excellent young surgeon in Carroll who was born and raised here. And it takes some time. Some people don't have contact with the medical community at all. But yeah, he's excellent. He's dedicated to the craft and to the patients in a way that I look at him and I just see myself at that age. Just everything. He's got a young family. His family's a little bigger than mine. He's got 3 little girls. I had 2. But other than that, I just look at him and I think, man, that's me 20 years ago. Or 17 years ago, I guess. So it's fun. It's fun. And we have things to teach each other. There's things you learn by being around for a long time, and there's things you learn by having just been trained. And we share the same office, so we share the office staff. It's just our staff gets along really well. We all committed to taking good care of the patients together. So it's a really great place for me to be at this point in my career. I'm really enjoying myself. I would say that it's the most enjoyable point in my career and life. But the first few years of when I was in Hawaii and my daughters were, say, 2 and 3, and we lived a couple blocks off the beach, and I worked at this little hospital in this wonderful community, that might have been a little better. But overall, I'm very, very happy. I'm happy to be, here in Carroll and at the hospital that allows us to have whatever we want from a technological perspective. Dr. Dirks they had bought him a table to do his anterior, meaning going through the front hips on, when they bought it before he got here, so that he, kind of like an incentive. Hey, we'll get you this. And this table it's a very different type of a table, and it allows you to put the limbs in very specific positions that are very important for when you're coming through the front for a hip. And they just last month bought him the newest version of that. It was a different brand and some things that he thought made it better for his patients. And St. Anthony said, well, if you think that's going to make you operate in a more safe and controlled manner by improving how the patient is positioned, then we will spend probably $150,000 on this OR bed or table. And so I like being in an environment like it is a locally owned hospital, meaning it's not part of a chain. All of the ownership is here. And it's run essentially by the Sisters of Perpetual Adoration, who are up in Wisconsin, and I don't know exactly what they have to do with it, but that it's run by a community board here in Carroll, and there's no outside profit influence. We are not part of a big chain. We are one of the only completely independent hospitals of our size in the state of Iowa. We are not beholden to the government. We're not a county hospital. We are not part of a larger like Unity Point or some of those big conglomerations. And so I think that is a real strength, because everything at St. Anthony's Hospital is about the success of St. Anthony's Hospital and the success of the Carroll community. That's why I like it. That's because I can do the surgeries anywhere, right? But there's always been a mission factor of it. And, when I was in Kauai, I was the only orthopedic surgeon that ever worked at that hospital. I worked there for 10 years. It became a situation where it didn't look like they were going to continue orthopedics. And indeed, after I left, they never did get another orthopedic surgeon. So seemed like I read the tea leaves there. But to be able to come out and be in a place where it's super strong financially, the foundation underneath that undergirds St. Anthony's is very, very solid. It's the type of community where a lot of people will leave money to the hospital in their wills. And all of that just leads to a very vibrant medical atmosphere. I mean, we have subspecialists that you would never think to have in a town of 10,000, like a wonderful cardiologist who does great things. And as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to have Dr. Susie on here because she is doing some really amazing things. Susie Fagofsky is our cardiologist, and she does electrophysiology, which means that she does like converting from a bad rhythm to a good rhythm, but she also puts in pacemakers, and she now has these intracardiac pacemakers, which I'd love to ask her about because I don't even understand them because I'm an orthopedic surgeon, and I know that she puts something in the heart that is a pacemaker as opposed to being under the skin with the probes going into the heart. But there's a full cancer center. Really, maybe that should be my program for New Year, is to get more of the people who are doing really cool things at St. Anthony's in here and let you guys hear about that, even though it's an orthopedic show. But I talk about my daughters, I talk about my dogs, we can talk about anything. But yeah, I mean, I'm really happy overall. It's just a perfect situation for me right now because I really enjoy working with Dr. Dirks and working with all the great nurses in the OR and the great nurses on the floor and the wonderful nurses in my clinic and other staff in my clinic. It's just good. I don't know. I just felt like saying how happy I am and why at St. Anthony's and what that means to anybody who chooses to come have care here is that we are all on a team focused on giving the absolute best care, and we care about the people that we're caring for, and it's tangible when you come here. So with that, I guess it's time to start bundling up. We'll see. Certainly outdoor fires, hot chocolate, and eventually, not too long, little ski trips incoming. So keep bundled up, eat some pumpkin spice, drink some apple cider, and you have a blessed week, Iowa.
This has been the St. Anthony Hospital Orthopedic Show with Dr. Richard Godding. For more information about Dr. Godding, his practice, or St. Anthony Hospital Orthopedics, go to www.santanthonyhospital.org or make an appointment by calling 712-794-5536.